the moral of the story is that I have to reflect on it because my mother is who I am.
From the cracked concrete of Long Beach to a $10 million fortress overlooking Los Angeles, this isn't just a rags to riches story. It's a reign. Behind these golden gates lies the empire of Calvin Broadus Jr., better known as Snoop Dogg, the man who turned rhythm into real estate, verses into ventures, and a voice from the streets into a billion-dollar brand. Every corner of this estate tells a story. A basketball court branded with his initials, a cigar room lined with mahogany, a home theater with 20 leather recliners. But the real story isn't in the marble or the Maybachs, because the same kid who signed to death row in 1993 now owns death row in 2022. He didn't just survive hip-hop's wildest era, he mastered it. From lowriders to Lamborghinis, from mixtapes to multi-million-dollar mansions. This is how Snoop Dogg flipped hustle into heritage. How did the kid from Long Beach turn a microphone into an empire and end up owning the very label that once owned him? Studio, lowrider, or label ownership? What's the real Snoop flex? Drop your pick in the comments below. Before the mansions and marble floors, before the world called him Snoop Dogg, there was just Calvin Broadus Jr., a skinny kid from the east side of Long Beach, with a dream louder than the chaos around him. Born in 1971, Calvin grew up in a world that didn't hand out second chances. His mother, Beverly Tate, worked long hours just to keep food on the table, while the streets around him became classrooms in survival. Every block had its own rules. Every corner told its own story. Loyalty meant everything, and weakness was never an option. Still, even in the noise, Calvin found rhythm. While other kids traded rhymes for fights, he traded fear for flow. He freestyled for hours, his voice smooth yet sharp, carrying that signature cool the world would later know as Snoop. Football was his first love. He played wide receiver in high school, fast, calm, and calculated. Teachers saw talent, coaches saw promise, but opportunity came slowly in Long Beach. Dreams had to compete with reality. And when reality hit hard, music became his safe place, a kind of therapy with rhythm instead of rules. He and a few neighborhood friends started recording homemade tracks using a cheap mic hanging from a bedroom ceiling and cassette decks borrowed from the local swap meet. The beats were rough, but the flow that lazy drawl mixed with precision was magic. His voice didn't shout, it slid, smooth, confident, effortless. And then fate came knocking in the most unexpected way. One of those early tapes passed from hand to hand, landed in the lap of Dr. Dre. Dre heard something he hadn't heard before. Not just a rapper, but a presence. That deep, unbothered tone that made every verse feel like a conversation. That laid-back precision that could make even violence sound poetic. That moment one mixtape in the right hands changed everything. In 1992, Dre called Snoop in for a session. It was raw, unplanned, electric. They recorded deep cover, and just like that, a new voice entered the game, one that would soon dominate it. Death Row Records became his new arena, but it wasn't a label. It was a war zone of talent. The air was thick with ambition, egos, and endless smoke. Every night, Dre, Tupac, and Snoop crafted music that would define an era. Through the chaos, Snoop stood calm, the quiet energy in a storm of noise. He didn't rap like anyone else. He didn't chase bars. He glided through them. His lyrics painted portraits of street life, but with style, rhythm, and grace. He made survival sound soulful. When Doggystyle dropped in 1993, hip-hop changed overnight. It wasn't just a debut album. It was a cultural earthquake. Every track oozed charisma and control. His image, his sound, his slang all became instantly iconic. But behind the platinum plaques and sold-out shows, Snoop was still that same kid from the block. He never lost his calm, never let fame rewrite his foundation. In one interview, he once said, "Before I had a mansion, I had a microphone, and that was all I needed to build an empire." That wasn't poetry. it was a prophecy. Because for Snoop, this was never about fame. It was about freedom. The freedom to move beyond what the world expected from someone like him. To build his own lane in a system not made for him. He didn't escape Long Beach, he carried it with him. Every song, every line, every beat had traces of that California struggle and swagger. From Gin and Juice to Still a G Thang, he never stopped being real. And in that full circle moment, the same calm gaze, now overlooking a mansion instead of a block, you realize. Snoop didn't just survive his story, he rewrote it. He turned pain into poetry, struggle into success, hustle into heritage. From cracked sidewalks to world stages, from a $20 mic to multi-million-dollar studios, his journey proved that greatness doesn't come from where you start. It comes from how you flow through it. The year was 1993, and hip-hop was never the same again. When Doggystyle dropped, it didn't just break records, it redefined the sound of the West Coast. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, selling over 800,000 copies in its first week, an unheard-of feat for a new artist. For the kid from Long Beach, that wasn't success. It was detonation. Suddenly, Snoop Dogg wasn't just a rapper. He was the voice of a generation. His flow was smooth but surgical, the perfect blend of jazz and danger, rhythm and rebellion. He didn't rap at you. He rapped with you. His sound made street stories sound cinematic, and the world couldn't get enough. But fame has its shadow. Death Row Records, the empire built by Dr. Dre and Suge Knight, were as dangerous as they were dominant. Money, power, and paranoia shared the same studio. The label ruled the charts, but it also made headlines, and not the good kind. Police raids, rivalries, courtrooms. The world wasn't just watching Snoop's music. They were watching his life unfold like a movie. But through the chaos, one thing stayed constant: his calm. Snoop never folded, never faked. When the world tried to cage him, he used music as his escape route. Every lyric became a form of survival. Every album, a new chapter of reinvention. And in 1998, he made his boldest move, yet leaving Death Row. Leaving wasn't just a business decision, it was rebirth. Under Master P's No Limit label, Snoop evolved. The gold chains stayed, but the message shifted from the streets to self-mastery, from chaos to control. The hits rolled in. Still a G Thang, Beautiful, and Drop It Like It's Hot. But now, Snoop wasn't just rapping about life, he was shaping it. Snoop became a cultural chameleon, bridging rap, R&B, and pop with ease. He collaborated with everyone from Pharrell to Katy Perry, blending gangsta cool with global flavor. And then came one of the boldest transformations in music history. In 2012, after a trip to Jamaica, he embraced a spiritual rebirth and became Snoop Lion. The sound changed. Reggae rhythms replaced G-Funk, and so did the message. Peace over power. Reflection over revenge. It wasn't reinvention, it was reclamation. By the 2000s, Snoop wasn't just an artist, he was a brand. His voice, his laugh, his aura instantly recognizable across every medium. From Training Day to Starsky and Hutch, from Soul Plane to Martha Stewart's Kitchen, Snoop mastered the art of being everywhere, without ever losing himself. But behind the fame was focus. While others chased trends, Snoop chased legacy. He launched Doggystyle Records, giving new artists the same chance Dre once gave him. Then came Snoopadelic Films, producing documentaries and movies that honored hip-hop from the inside out. And then, the Snoop Youth Football League. What started as a local project became a statewide movement. Since 2005, the SYFL has mentored over 10,000 kids, producing future NFL stars like Juju Smith-Schuster. But for Snoop, it wasn't about football, it was about family. He was building a structure where chaos once lived. Music made him famous. Mentorship made him immortal. From platinum records to movie screens. From no-limit contracts to business deals, every step was strategy. Every chapter, Another layer of legacy. And then, standing on top of everything he'd built, Snoop made one more realization. Owning the stage wasn't enough. He wanted to own the system. He'd conquered sound. Now, he was ready to conquer structure, from lyrics to land, from rhymes to real estate. The Doggfather was done performing for applause. He was ready to build his empire. He didn't just leave death row. He came back with the keys. If you were Snoop Dogg with fame, wealth, and legacy, would you keep performing or start owning the game? Beyond the velvet ropes of fame lies a different kind of kingdom. Quiet, golden, and soaked in legacy. Welcome to the Doggfather's domain. Snoop Dogg's California estate stretches across more than 25,000 square feet, a world built from rhythm, hustle, and reinvention. The gates swing open, not just to luxury, but to history. Each marble tile beneath his feet tells a story. Each chandelier overhead reflects decades of work, discipline, and transformation. From the streets of Long Beach to the hills of Diamond Bar, this home is the echo of evolution. Inside, elegance and soul coexist. The mansion features handcrafted Italian marble, gold-trimmed staircases, and velvet drapes that move with the afternoon breeze. It's not just a house, it's a museum of rhythm and resilience. One room over, the cigar lounge hums softly, its mahogany shelves stacked with vinyl records and photos with Dre, Tupac, and Martha Stewart. The air smells of leather, smoke, and legacy. But the heartbeat of this home lies in his private studio, the room where inspiration never sleeps. Bathed in neon blue light, the studio is where the Doggfather still cooks up verses and beats. It's the same hunger that drove him decades ago, now refined with wisdom. Step outside and you'll find what he calls his Garden of Groove, a full-sized basketball court where friends, rappers, actors, and athletes shoot hoops under California's flawless sky. Beyond that, the pool deck glistens like liquid glass beside a luxury bar where backyard BBQs turn into jam sessions. And when the sun sets, the mansion transforms. The hills light up like a crown of stars. The infinity pool mirrors the city below, the same city that once doubted him. Now, it's his view, his victory, his peace. It's easy to call it wealth, but for Snoop, this is more than money. It's an expression. It's proof that you can evolve without erasing where you came from. The man who once wore chucks and flannels now moves through marble hallways in silk robes and diamond chains, but the energy is the same. Street confidence dressed in sophistication. Luxury to him isn't excess, it's evolution. Every car, every room, every corner of this mansion carries purpose. It's the story of transformation written in stone and steel. And then there's Snoop's Temple of Motion. His cars are more than machines. They're milestones. The Phantom symbolizes timeless class. The Tesla reflects the future. And then there's Snoop DeVille, his iconic green Cadillac lowrider, the bridge between the past and present. Chrome gleams, hydraulics bounce, and nostalgia rides shotgun. But beneath the shine lies something deeper. This mansion is both a fortress and a factory where luxury meets leadership. Within these walls, Snoop runs his empire from his record label to his cannabis brand, his gin line, and even his esports ventures. The home doubles as a headquarters, where dreams are managed like business, smooth, strategic, and unstoppable. Every item in that office carries emotion. A shelf filled with books on entrepreneurship. A picture of his mother, his greatest teacher, looking over it all. Each plaque on the wall is a badge of survival, not just success. He didn't just build a mansion, he built a movement. From cannabis culture to cooking shows, from music to media, every project bears the mark of the Doggfather. Confidence, creativity, and calm. But the real treasure isn't the marble floors or the Rolls-Royce garage. It's the laughter echoing through the hallways, the smell of barbecue on summer afternoons, the sound of kids playing football on the lawn. That's what success sounds like when it finally feels like home. Because for Snoop Dogg, wealth isn't about money. It's about mastery. It's the freedom to live on your own terms, to give back, to stay grounded. His mansion isn't a monument to fame. It's a reminder that every struggle has a purpose. That photo whispers one truth. You can take the man out of Long Beach, but you can't take Long Beach out of the man. He stands there not just as an artist, but as an architect of culture, a man who turned rhythm into real estate, verses into value, and dreams into dynasty. And yet, even surrounded by everything he ever wanted, one question lingers, the same one that started it all. After all the fame, all the fortune, and all the freedom, what's next for a man who already has everything? If you could spend one day in Snoop's mansion, would you chill in the studio, join the BBQ, or cruise in the lowrider? Behind the fame, the flash, and the fortune lies a man few truly know, the husband, the father, the grandfather. Behind the Doggfather is Calvin Broadus Jr., whose greatest hit isn't on a record, but at his own dinner table. He married his high school sweetheart, Shante Taylor Broadus, long before the world ever heard his name. Their journey has weathered fame, distance, and rediscovery. They've walked through storms and still found rhythm in forgiveness. When the cameras stop rolling, it's Shante who reminds him who he was before the crown. She isn't just the woman beside him. She's the rhythm beneath every verse. After decades of chaos, label wars, media storms, personal loss, he finally learned the meaning of peace. Not in applause, but in stillness. Not in luxury, but in laughter. He found healing in the simple rituals: cooking breakfast with Shante, FaceTiming his grandkids, or saying a quiet prayer before bed. His 3 children, Cord, Cordell, and Corey, each carry a piece of him. Cord's creativity, Cordell's discipline, Corey's calm strength. Together, they became the melody behind the man. When he became a grandfather, Snoop Dogg became Papa Snoop. The rap icon turned storyteller teaching lessons instead of chasing charts. Family reshaped him. The man once labeled a rebel became a mentor, showing his kids that power without peace is hollow, and fame without family fades fast. Even his circle of friends reflects this balance. His brotherhood with Dr. Dre goes far beyond music built on loyalty, trust, and time. His respect for Tupac still echoes in his interviews, the friend who taught him that greatness often comes with a price. And then there's Martha Stewart, the most unexpected bond in pop culture. 2 worlds collided, street culture and silver spoons, and yet it worked. Their chemistry showed that authenticity transcends backgrounds. Snoop proved that realness doesn't care where you're from. It's about who you are when the cameras turn off. Beyond all the glitz, Snoop's private life beats to a quieter rhythm: faith, meditation, and gratitude. He's a man who prays before every show, who lights incense before recording, who believes that success means nothing without spiritual balance. Every morning begins with meditation, not to escape the world, but to stay grounded within it. For a man once surrounded by chaos, peace has become his loudest statement. His home is filled not with noise, but with laughter. His walls carry warmth, not worry. The same man who once rapped about the grind now teaches about grace. He no longer chases success, he cultivates purpose. He tells them, it's not about how fast you win, it's about how strong you stay. Through his Snoop Youth Football League, he's given thousands of kids across the US a chance to grow, learn, and dream. Many of those players went on to play college and professional football, a living legacy of mentorship and motivation. That's the real victory. Not just platinum records or business ventures, but building people. Because in Snoop's world, legacy means lifting others while you rise. He built an empire, but never lost his roots. Every prayer whispered, every meal shared, every laugh echoes back to Long Beach, the place where dreams were small, but hearts were full. In the end, his true wealth isn't the marble floors or the cars in the garage. It's the people who stand beside him. The ones who stayed, believed, and reminded him that love lasts longer than legacy. Because for Calvin Broadus Jr., the journey home wasn't about returning. It was about remembering. He built an empire, but never lost his roots. Behind the smoke and spotlight lies the side of Snoop the headlines rarely show: the mentor, the coach, the man rebuilding the same streets that raised him. In 2005, he founded the Snoop Youth Football League, a dream turned dynasty. What began as weekend practices in Long Beach turned into a national movement, giving over 1,500 kids a chance to trade chaos for confidence. For many, this wasn't just football, it was family. Some of his young players even went pro, proving that legacy can wear cleats too. But the field was only the beginning. You'll find Snoop just as often at food drives in Long Beach, youth centers in Compton, or community expos across LA. His mission? Simply use your fame to feed others, not just yourself. When he's not coaching, he's building brands that serve purpose. From Broadus Foods, which brought Snoop cereal to grocery shelves nationwide, to Death Row Records 2.0, the empire he now owns, the same label that once owned him. With Death Row 2.0, Snoop turned nostalgia into equity. The move wasn't just symbolic, it was a full circle power play. The kid signed by Death Row became the man who bought the throne. But Snoop didn't stop there. He expanded into cannabis culture with his brand Leafs by Snoop, blending authenticity with innovation. Each joint, each jar, a statement that luxury isn't loud. It's leveraged. He's become a loud voice for Black business ownership, mentoring young entrepreneurs and showing that culture can be both creative and corporate. Every deal he signs echoes one message: we don't just make the culture, we own it. Culturally, his influence runs deeper than music. From slang to style, from streetwear to stardom, Snoop redefined what cool looks like: effortless, elegant, eternal. He's collected plaques, trophies, and honors BET Icon Award, NAACP Image Award, Hollywood Walk of Fame star, but his most meaningful reward? The gratitude of communities he's lifted. The kid with a dream became a bridge for others to cross. For Snoop, legacy is no longer about numbers, it's about names. The names of kids he coached, the artists he inspired, the fans he uplifted. Because he's proven that cool can be kind, and that true greatness isn't about how high you rise, it's about how many you lift while you're climbing. He owns mansions and millions, but his greatest investment will always be in people. From Long Beach blocks to marble floors, Snoop Dogg's journey isn't just about success, it's about staying real while living royal. He didn't just survive the game, he rewrote its rules. From rap to real estate, from lyrics to legacy, he proved that greatness doesn't fade, it evolves. His empire now stands not just in California hills, but in every beat, every brand, every soul he's inspired. Because for Snoop, luxury isn't loud, it's leveraged. Ownership isn't an achievement, it's the legacy. So tell us, is Snoop Dogg's true legacy in his music, his business empire, or the life he built beyond fame? Drop your thoughts below, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more stories of Black excellence and luxury legends.